Happy Wednesday, everyone. Well, not if you're Whoopi Goldberg, AKA Karen Johnson. Yeah, who knew Whoopi was a Karen? I thought that was only for white people, like Toyota Priuses and skiing. Roll it, Francis.
Good morning and welcome to The View. You all saw the news. Whoopi will be back here in 2 weeks. Okay?
So cute when one of their side gets punished. They sulk like they ran out of raw cookie dough in the green room.
Whoopi Goldberg's recent meltdown was so dramatic that it warranted its own Lifetime movie, complete with melancholy piano music and awkward eye contact. What caused the tears? Greg Gutfeld's ruthless roast, which sent her ego into witness protection. If you thought daytime TV was crazy, wait until you see Whoopi lose her composure more quickly than her most recent attempt at a joke. This takedown is more pathetic than a reunion of Real Housewives during a hurricane.
Yeah, ABC suspended Whoopi for 2 weeks because she said the Holocaust had nothing to do with race. She said this on a show called The View, which makes everything about race. Except now.
The Holocaust isn't about race. No, it's not about race.
No, it's about a different race.
But it's not about race. It's not about race.
What is it about?
Because it's about man's inhumanity to man.
Yeah, that's heroically stupid. Even for The View.
Whoopi Goldberg recently had one of those tantrums that makes little children appear emotionally grown up. She was preaching from her imitation leather recliner pulpit on The View one moment, and then she was unraveling more quickly than a fake jumper in the washing machine. The sarcastic goblin of Fox News, Greg Gutfeld, is the one responsible for this public outburst. He uses humor as a weapon, much like a paper factory flamethrower.
Today on The View, otherwise known as Hell's DMV, Whoopi Goldberg asked how much different are the values of the Trump administration from the Taliban.
We have a leader who has repeatedly demeaned women, wants to defund organizations that benefit women, calling on the media to shut up, specifically wants to give preferential treatment based on religion.
But let's not act like this is brand new. Whoopi has been speeding towards this collapse as if it were a prearranged vacation. The View, a program that was originally intended to be a lively discussion, has now changed or devolved into the virtual equivalent of a group chat, with 5 broken Siri devices arguing over who is more sanctimonious and running that mess like a conductor with a tambourine. Whoopi, who apparently feels that by voicing her emotions above the facts, she is the voice of the people.
Wow. Talk about groundbreaking to actually hear a celebrity say something mean about the Taliban. How dare they compare them to Trump? The Taliban should sue. Guess they ran out of Hitler analogies. So as they bash the president, I'm reminded how entertainers rarely express any rage over any strand of misogynist Islamism. If they did, we might take their rage toward Trump seriously. A reminder, the Taliban throw acid in girls' faces for going to school. Yeah, I guess that's like defunding Planned Parenthood. Radical Islam is all for killing gays. And I guess that's the same as making some rude jokes. No, Trump's past rudeness is a product of a rude culture, one fed and fattened by a coarse entertainment industry.
Now picture her fear. She responded with the emotional stability of a wet serviette, and Greg Gutfeld, with his trademark smug smile and a cannon full of satire, decided he'd had enough. There were theatrics, traumatic sighs, and that iconic look of disbelief that someone dared to mock the oracle of daytime drama.
Canada, apparently they're throwing tariffs on manatee meat and bovine semen, which means The View is very unhappy. Oh. Sausage maker Johnsonville is recalling more than 42,000 pounds of pork sausage for possible contamination with plastic fibers. Fortunately, authorities were able to track all 42,000 pounds to a single location in New York City.
This wasn't just any roast. Gutfeld dismantled Whoopi's talking points like a pro, exposing the flimsy logic behind her emotional outbursts. While she leaned on tired victimhood theatrics, he brought sharp surgical critique. Whoopi's grandstanding felt more like performance art than genuine insight. The View has become a smug echo chamber where half-informed hot takes pass as wisdom, and real debate is as dead as intellectual diversity on that set.
Their brains are small. But who's the dumbest one of all? True, none of them are in Mensa, but who's the most densa? Perhaps it's Sunny who mastered the art of making idiots look smart. Now, The View could ask a mirror who's the dumbest one of all, but there's no way that glass doesn't shatter. So instead, let's check out this clip from Monday's episode of The View when the ladies put their science caps on and discuss the solar eclipse.
The View now feels more like a live-action Twitter mob than a talk show. When Gutfeld showed up, he didn't just throw shade, he dropped truth bombs into a house built on feelings. He called out the show's suffocating self-righteousness, leaving Whoopi stunned mid-monologue like she'd wandered into a logic seminar by mistake. Her meltdown was classic. Dramatic sighs, vague history lessons, emotional flailing, and a desperate attempt to cry without ruining her makeup. It was a full-blown primetime performance, and you could almost hear the producer scrambling for the commercial break.
Hallway. The rapture is here. Rapture's here, and then also I learned that cicadas are coming.
Cicadas.
Cicadas for the first time in like
No,
100 years.
no.
For the first time in many, many years.
No,
And so-
every 17 years this happens.
Well, that's not what I read, but maybe maybe you know better. All those things together would maybe lead one to believe that either climate change exists or something is returning.
Earthquakes are not at the mercy of climate change. It's underground. It can't.
It happens, and the eclipse, they've known about the eclipse coming because eclipses happen, and they actually can say when these things are going to happen.
Amazing. That's not what I read. The true sign of the apocalypse is someone that dumb has a law degree. Worse, if your name has the word sun in it, there's no excuse for not knowing how an eclipse works. But it's no surprise that Joy is the one who understands science. She's been on the science diet for years.
Gutfeld didn't have to work hard. He just held up a mirror to The View, exposing a show driven by outrage, not insight. Whoopi mistook volume for validity, backed by co-hosts so allergic to dissent they might break out in hives at a conservative thought. As she flailed, her panel scrambled with forced nods and panicked glances, unprepared for actual pushback. Joy Behar finally grasped the gravity, while Sunny Hostin delivered a word salad that even a thesaurus would reject. They circled the wagons, turning debate into group therapy, where emotion trumps accountability and criticism is treated as a personal attack.
Hostin's obsession with race gets thrown back in her face. Today's video comes to us from Sunny Hostin. Sounds like a town. We're in Sunny Hostin. She was on PBS's Finding Your Roots, a show dedicated to researching celebrity ancestry. For context, Sunny is a staunch supporter of reparations and has made a fortune spewing nonsense about white privilege and racial justice. Well, turns out she's not as oppressed as she claims she is. She's actually the descendant of slave owners from...
Here's the twist. Whoopi's meltdown became instant meme fuel. The internet tore it apart with reaction videos, slow-mo remixes, and dramatic violins. But this wasn't a one-off, it was just the latest in a series of Whoopi moments where ego meets reality. She reacts to dissent like it's 1993 and someone just dared to disagree for the first time. The View has become a masterclass in proud ignorance, like a book club obsessed with covers no one reads. Gutfeld didn't even insult her, he challenged her ideas. But in Whoopi's world, that's blasphemy. Why debate when you can just collapse into melodrama?
Whoopi claims Biden's loose bowels should make voters throw in the towels. Goldberg's rational so weak she doesn't care if Biden can't speak. Yes, it's a magical land where little Debbies make big bellies and brain cells go to die. This week on The View, Whoopi doubled down on her support of Joe Biden's re-election. No surprise, but it was her peculiar poo-powered prose that piqued my potty predilection. Roll it!
I don't care if he's pooped his pants. I don't care if he can't put a sentence together.
Instead of gloating, Gutfeld shrugged, cracked a joke, and walked away like a man who just out-argued a GPS. That's what stung most. He stayed calm, armed with logic, while Whoopi tried to bend reality with facial expressions and emotional theatrics. She brought feelings to a reasoned fight and lost badly. By the next episode, she was back. No introspection, just more righteous outrage. That's how The View survives, recycling emotion, avoiding growth, and calling it conversation.
Doesn't care if he his pants, and in fact, she'll stand right behind him. Not only does she have a terrible case of Trump derangement, she also has no sense of smell or a really weird fetish. And I'm not one to kink shame, to each his own. I guess you just got tired of Joy's crap. Kat, you know what was the most interesting thing about this was the audience reaction. Like when she started talking about poop being everywhere, the audience was like frozen. They were like, oh, I don't, what is going on here? Whoopi has a poop problem.
What does she mean she has poopy days?
She has poopy days. I don't.
Public meltdowns are inevitable when your persona relies on never being challenged. Gutfeld, love him or not, isn't afraid to poke the hornet's nest. Whoopi, on the other hand, might consider stepping outside her smug bubble. Though without The View, where else could we feel so confident in our own reasoning? Her breakdowns are comedy gold. While she delivers TED talk-level drama over Wikipedia facts, Gutfeld dares to bring humor into political debate, a radical act apparently. 1 hour of The View sounds like parrots in a wind tunnel, while Gutfeld's late-night satire, audience aside, still makes more sense.
These studies are married white women, and they do fall in line with what their husbands are doing.
People have to wonder, where does Sunny Hostin get her opinions?
Yeah.
Like you said, it's obviously from her husband. She has to tell her what to say in The View, because without it, she's got nothing up there. She's not very bright. But the problem with her is that she went full racist.
Sunny Hostin parrots her husband's views, lacking original thought and often veering into outright racism. Unlike The View's co-hosts who rely on victimhood and applause for validation, Gutfeld cuts through hypocrisy with razor-sharp humor, more effective than Joy Bihar's hairstyle. The View treats every disagreement like a personal attack, responding with smug claps and tired anti-Trump takes. Gutfeld, meanwhile, mocks both sides, understanding that real impact lies between comedy and critique. That's why his audience grows, while The View's relevance fades. Young viewers crave sharp truth with sarcasm, not sanctimonious lectures.
Make Sunny Hostin, who thinks climate change caused the solar eclipse, the dumbest of them all. Because everyone knows the moon caused the eclipse, which is controlled by The View's gravitational pull. All right, Kat, did you ever see such a group? It's amazing how Joy and Whoopi became the smart ones.
For me, the most shocking thing about the conversation was how truly boring it was.
Then came the internet roast. Greg got a virtual standing ovation, while Whoopi clutched her pearls. The View thrives on feelings, but ratings tell the real story. As Gutfeld claimed his comedy crown, The View squad reacted with eye rolls and dramatic flailing. Sunny's glare could curdle milk, and Navarro sounded like she was auditioning for a telenovela. If Whoopi's ego grows any bigger, it might host the show solo. The View's accidental comedy, born from pure hubris, remains a national treasure of mid-morning meltdowns.